The village of Hollow Creek was old. Ancient oaks lined its narrow lanes, their branches heavy with secrets. The village was known for its eerie silence, broken only by the rustling leaves and the distant cry of owls. At its heart stood the Whispering Inn, a sprawling building of dark timber and leaded glass. For centuries it had welcomed travelers, offering warmth and respite. But the inn held a secret, a room shrouded in darkness and whispered rumors. It was called the Silent Room. The innkeeper, a stooped man with haunted eyes, spoke of the room in hushed tones. He would warn guests, his voice trembling, "Stay clear of the Silent Room. It's best left undisturbed. Some doors are not meant to be opened." But curiosity, like a moth drawn to a flickering flame, often proved stronger than fear. Travelers, intrigued by the whispers and warnings, would sometimes ask about the room. The innkeeper would shake his head slowly. "It's a place of sorrow," he would murmur, his gaze distant, "a place where shadows linger." He never elaborated, but the fear in his eyes spoke volumes. The Silent Room, cloaked in an aura of dread, remained locked, its secrets hidden behind a heavy oak door. The story of the Silent Room, passed down through generations, was a tragic one. It was the tale of Eliza, a young woman who had arrived at the inn one stormy night, her eyes filled with a haunting sadness. She had taken refuge in the room, seeking solace from a world that seemed to have turned against her. Eliza's stay had been brief and shrouded in mystery. One morning, she was found dead in the room, her face pale and lifeless. The circumstances of her death remained a mystery. A chilling secret whispered in the shadows. Some whispered of heartbreak, others of a malevolent force that haunted the room. After Eliza's death, the room remained empty, untouched. Guests reported hearing strange noises, whispers carried on the wind, and the faint strains of mournful music. Objects moved inexplicably, and doors creaked open and shut on their own. The innkeeper, fearing the room's dark energy, decided to keep it locked, a silent testament to Eliza's tragic fate. One chilly evening, as the wind howled like a banshee outside, a young traveller named Sarah arrived at the Whispering Inn. She was a writer, drawn to forgotten places and stories whispered in the dark. The inn, with its air of mystery and its infamous Silent Room, intrigued her. Sarah had heard the stories of the Silent Room, of the tragic Eliza and the strange occurrences. But unlike others, fear did not grip her heart. Instead, a deep curiosity took root. She was determined to uncover the truth behind the whispers, to experience the room's mysteries firsthand. Ignoring the innkeeper's warnings and the fear in his eyes, Sarah insisted on staying in the Silent Room. "I'm not afraid," she said, her voice firm despite the tremor in her heart. "I believe there's a story to be found there, a story that needs to be told." The innkeeper, his face etched with concern, reluctantly led her to the room, his lantern casting long, eerie shadows on the walls. Section 4. The Cold Embrace. The Silent Room was at the end of a long, creaking corridor, its door hidden in shadows. As the innkeeper unlocked the door, a musty smell, heavy with the weight of time and neglect, wafted out. The room was dimly lit, its furniture draped in white sheets, giving it the ghostly air of a tomb. Sarah stepped inside, feeling a coldness grip the air around her. It was more than just the chill of a disused room, it was a bone-deep coldness that seemed to seep into her very core. She shivered, wrapping her arms around herself. The room was silent, eerily so, as if holding its breath. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, Sarah felt a strange sense of peace. She moved further into the room, running her fingers over the dusty surfaces of the furniture. The air grew heavy, pressing down on her with an unseen weight. She could hear her own heartbeat in the silence, loud and insistent. Section 5. Whispers in the Dark. As the night deepened, Sarah sat by the window, her notebook open on the table before her. She wanted to write, to capture the essence of the room, but words seemed to evade her. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the rhythmic tapping coming from somewhere within the walls. Suddenly, Sarah heard a whisper, soft and indistinct, seeming to come from the far corner of the room. She froze, her blood turning to ice. She strained to hear, her heart pounding in her chest. The whisper came again, this time a little clearer, a mournful sigh carried on the wind. Fear, cold and sharp, pricked at the edges of Sarah's courage. She tried to convince herself it was just the wind whistling through the old building, playing tricks on her overactive imagination. But deep down, a primal fear warned her that she was not alone.